are live.
Are we live?
We are live. I just got the notification.
I can't see us moving, so we'll see what happens here. But, okay, friends. Oh, I see us moving now. I'm here today with Amanda Davis, who is the owner of Dlux Solutions and just a bookkeeper extraordinaire. She's, just all over the world of bookkeeping. And Amanda, I'm going to give you a second to just introduce yourself. Okay, friends. And tell us what's going on here. What goes on in your world?
Well, right now it's actually pretty busy. Busy in a really good way, and I have nothing but to be thankful for. And I'm gonna say that with a preface. Anybody that feels the need to reach out, don't feel bad about it. I'm fully prepared for you. So let's put that out there. If you have any needs in your bookkeeping, QuickBooks Online, you have a random question, I don't care what time of the day it is, message me, we'll get on top of it.
Yeah, and you and I were just talking, like everybody's kind of looking at their money right now. This is the time that a lot of us are going, especially small business owners, are going through big shifts. So I'm sure that you're going to be a resource to so many. Before we get all the way back to bookkeeping, because I know that our conversation is going to circle back there, I want to talk about one of the things that you and I talk frequently about is mindset. And when I started talking about Project Iowa and pairing with them on $100 headshots, you said, oh my gosh, I've gone through that program. I participated in that. I loved it. Can you tell me a little bit about what made you say yes to that program? How'd you find it? Like, tell me a little bit about that journey.
Well, your lovely business partner, Emily Steele, posted about it maybe summer. I was thinking about this earlier today. When did I really hear about it? And I think it was last summer. And the way that she presented it, and I do a lot of referrals. I do business by referrals. And she said that it really was a positive mindset. And this is something that I have been working on for 15 years. And I really started to dive into it 5 years ago. I got tired of a lot of drama that was in my life and how much it was consuming my mind. And I really wanted to have a more positive outlook, frame of mind myself, but also my self-talk and how I'm communicating to other people. So she mentioned that Project Iowa was a leader in that aspect. I was like, I'm all in. I really wanted to start 2020 in a rise. And every single day, I'm like, you remember that, and you just continue to step forward in it. And when I started Project Iowa, the very first day, I showed up. And one of the instructors said, if you don't share what you're doing in this class at home with your family, with the people you surround yourself with, you will probably struggle. And I took it home. Like, I didn't even get home. I got directly to my car. I picked up my phone and I called my partner and I said, there is another session tonight. I want to see if you can go. And I want to do it together. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, I don't tell you everything. So we both attended it. We didn't complete the very first set of the program. It was Thanksgiving and we both had some things that were changing in our lives and we needed to address those. So unfortunately, but we were able to fully lean into it together. And I can tell you that my business has benefited from it and our relationship and just our household has benefited from the whole aspect of it. It's really hard to explain, but it's worth it.
Well, I think that a mindset shift, when it goes really deep and you integrate it into your home life, it is hard to explain. And I've been through, the reason why I chose Project Iowa is that I went through not the Project Iowa program, but a big leadership program last year. And I saw a lot of similarities in what Project Iowa was doing and who it was, and I loved its mission. And I think that changing our mindsets changes the way we see everything. It changes how, when I spill something on the ground, how I react to that, like that tiny little thing. And then it also changes how I approach my business in times of stress. Can you tell me a little bit about a mindset shift of like, okay, a year ago before you'd gone through Project Iowa, what is the difference in mindset of how you might have approached this current pandemic that we're in and what you like the way you're approaching it now? Like, I know there's tons of different ways, but if you can distill it down to one, I'd love to hear one.
I think I was on a call last week and I had actually mentioned you. I was talking to Dan McCrane and like, I feel like the last 10 years of my life have set me up for this very moment.
Mm,
Because it wasn't even like right before I started Project Iowa. The last recession that we went through, I went through it twice. I got laid off not once, but two times.
yeah,
I went to school during that. I struggled financially during that. I definitely panicked.
yeah,
The second time, I panicked a lot harder, but people will hear me talking about gardening and my hobbies. Like, just because Dlux Solutions is about bookkeeping, my tagline is it's not just about the boring basic books. It's literally just about, positive mindset and life in general.
yes,
Getting
balance.
back to ourselves, self care. I'm in the garden all of the time. You would be surprised, but I mean, I'm always talking about bookkeeping. My mind is still in bookkeeping when I'm in the garden, so you figure it out. So,
Yeah.
but we
Well,
have
when your hands are moving and you have a positive space, you're able to do different kinds of problem solving.
Yeah, I mean, I chose to lean in that direction. I didn't choose to lean into bookkeeping right away, and I baby stepped my way through it. Um, when I chose to lean into starting my business, I didn't think about it. That was probably the third time in my life, and I really didn't think about my self care.
Mm,
And it was the biggest mistake that I probably ever influenced upon myself. I spent a year and a half with anxiety. It moved into me. It was
yeah.
living inside of me for a year and a half. Um, I just had this conversation a couple of days ago that when I didn't feel like anxiety was sitting inside of me, I didn't really understand that normalness that I was feeling. But it was so calm and so peaceful. Like I love just sitting and basking in that feeling.
Hmm. I think that you raise such a beautiful point because I can relate to that so strongly of that when I started my business, the anxiety that just lived in me. And it got so normal that I think the first couple years of my business, I didn't even know, I didn't remember anymore
Yeah. Oh yeah.
what it felt like to live without uh, that underlying stress. And then going through the mindset shift that I went through last year, I just came out of it and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this feeling? Like, what is this space I have? And so I think similarly, coming into this pandemic, time will tell what space we're actually in.
Mhm.
I'm able to breathe and just know, like, I'm able to have my mindset. No matter what, I have my mindset. And the moments of anxiety I have, I now can feel them. Like, there are moments of anxiety that I can name and address and shift out of rather than just a lifestyle of anxiety that I know I was living in for a couple years. Can you speak to how you shift out when you have moments of anxiety? Like, what do you do?
You know, that is the one thing that I really appreciated when the first two or three sessions of Project Iowa, because it is like they drill it into you. I had been working on it within myself for 10 years. There were people that were approaching this for the first time in their lives,
Mhm.
and you have to consciously remind yourself that this is not, you don't have to choose that. You can choose something better, whatever that is. And it might just be a momentary struggle of something that just constantly annoys you and pisses you off. Like for some people,
Mhm.
there are just like silly triggers. For you and I, they might be silly, but for somebody else, they might be really intense. And we just have to remember that that's a choice. And I loved that when we were in those first three classes, um, witnessing the people actually realize that
Yeah.
coming to like the third and fourth week and they're like, I almost flipped out, and 2 months ago I probably would have, but today I chose not to.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that is literally the mindset shift, is constantly remembering that. I chose to set goals several years ago, when I went through and I started doing the gardening. Like this, it was all based on goals. And every other year, I try to self-reflect on my own, and what areas do I want to improve, which was the whole rise within me. That's why that was really more important, to put myself in places where it was drilled into me even more.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, timing was impeccable that they called me, because I forgot that I had applied. But,
Oh,
but showing up and then starting into 2020, when it's like literally it's clear vision and everything. So it continues to roll forward.
good.
So I have to think of this moment that feels like a crisis as a calling almost to me, that like you've already been here a few times, and it's your choice to continue to stay on the positive side and look at all of your goals that you do still set out in front of you. And this is a road bump and a challenge, and how are you going to face it?
Yeah. I love that. And I think the people who, I've said this several times as we've been, the past couple of weeks been just navigating this in each of our individual ways, is that this time shows us where we are. It shows us where we are mentally, it shows us where we are financially, it shows us where we are in our relationships, it shows us where we are in relationship to the world, in relationship to our bodies, everything. There's not anything in my life that this past 2 weeks has not dug deep into.
Mhm.
And I can imagine that this might be a really scary time for people as they are coming face to face with some things, if they haven't done this kind of work. If mindset is still something that they're working on. And for some, I mean, mindset's a journey, right? I'm not at the top of anything. I feel like every day I'm coaching myself and climbing out of things and learning new things. But if there's some advice that you could give to somebody who's struggling to, for lack of a better word, wake up on the right side of the bed of this, what would you tell somebody?
If you need to bask in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
bask in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, quite honestly. And if it turns into a couple of days, I mean, ask yourself to take a reality check.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's about the time where I start to get pull the sarcasm out. If somebody's really starting to say, like, if they're sitting on their third or fourth day or something, like, it's not fun. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I have done it myself. I've done it for months. So, like, start to ask yourself where your reality check is at. And if you still want to tell yourself that you need another day and you want to take another day, by all means do it. But tell somebody, call a friend,
Yeah.
put a Hail Mary out there. I don't know, do something, but make sure that you're socializing distantly.
Yeah.
It is okay. Like, I've spent every single day the last 3 weeks, from 7 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening, doing this. But 5 o'clock is my time, like, and that's where I need to be with my partner, and where we need to have our time. So, yeah, check in when you need to.
Yeah. I love that. Tell me about bookkeeping in this specific time. I know you're being inundated right now, and bookkeeping for me is just like, it's one of those necessary things. And now more than ever, I'm like, I'm so glad that I've done some things right in this arena, but it's a check for me. Like, it's I get to go in and I get to do this better in the future. And I'm so glad I'm learning this lesson at 33. I'm learning where I stack up financially at 33 rather than 55 or whatever down the road, because I still get the opportunity to make changes, and whatever hole I end up in, or hopefully I don't end up in one, hopefully I've prepared myself enough, but I get to make changes down the road. So what advice would you give somebody who's trying to build some financial bearing right now? Just simple, like, say you're starting from zero, anything you can give them.
So, um, The one thing that I love to talk about with people is how well your financial numbers can give you a foundation and actually motivate you.
Mhm.
And one motivational tool a lot of people want to turn to as entrepreneurs is investing in their marketing in different ways and tools that they can do that. Um, but you have to have your foundation in order so that way you can lean into it.
Mhm.
I love what you guys do as brand lunch. Like it, it's brilliant. But that's what we need to do. Like if we have to do some connections in there, get creative
Mhm.
inside of your bookkeeping and invest appropriately.
Yeah.
So number one thing, know your foundation. So what absolutely do you have to have in order to support that?
Mhm.
Um, so like there's your needs. If you have a brick and mortar and you have rent and you have other like
Yeah.
utilities, like that's the four walls of your household. It's the same thing. It's the four walls of your business. Like know
Yeah.
what that number is. And then how much do you like, because that's what you have to have for revenue to base it off every single month.
Yep.
Um, when push comes to shove and you're not making over that, it's okay to say, like, I'm not available to invest financially, but can I give you my time?
Mhm.
And one number one way that like I invest is giving my time, sharing my services, networking with people. There is never a time that anybody sits down with me and they are not referred to five other opportunities and ways that they can also invest in their time. They can lean into their business. They can connect with two or three other individuals. So look at that. You know, where can
It's
you
so
also
valuable.
network with? Like networking is socializing, and it is just continuing to grow your circle. So it's all you really have to do. And right now, if we have to do it from a distance, by all means, like we still have like these great ways that we can still lean into our business and help support us for eternity. So the relationships that we build will never go away.
When I think this is I love the habits I'm building right now.
Yep.
The taking time to read in the morning, creating Zoom calls that are probably more time effective in a lot of ways. Not to say that when we're out of this, I'm not going to want to see some people in person, but I love some of the efficiencies I'm building and some of the ways that we're learning to socialize. Like, I've talked to some of my friends who live in different states more during this time than I do regularly because we just said, oh, everybody's getting together on Zoom. Let's get together on Zoom. Like, why didn't we do that before? So I think that it's such a beautiful time to just relearn a new way to connect with people. And networking is connection, and networking is just, connection is what gets us to whatever goal we're looking at. And if you can have this positive mindset going into it, people want to be around you. So we can just spread that.
I'll try.
Right? You do very
I'm originally from the state of Nebraska. I'm not too terribly far away, but it's 5 hours, So like living a distance from my family. My aunt texted me the other day. She's like, "Can we have a 5 o'clock happy hour?" And I was like, you can FaceTime me whenever you want to. Like we're family. You have my number. Pick up the phone. Like it's that easy. Like we don't have to have the excuses, but I love the excuses. Like that's cool.
I love it. I love all of the phone calls that are happening. Like I talk to my grandpa way more now. I'm just, because I used to see him every Sunday, and now I'm like, Papa, we got to chat. We got to have a call. So.
Absolutely.
Well, Miss Amanda, thank you so much for being on here with me today. It's always so good to talk to you, and enjoy your social distancing. I know your garden is probably like loving all of the attention and time that you have for it right now, but I will talk to you very soon.
It's been wonderful.
Bye, girl.